it's thin. You can see it's thin. Hello everybody, and welcome back to a new video. And I I realized that we have not yet had a little sit down chit chat this year. And those are some of my favorite videos to make, just sitting down, talking to all of you, yapping away. So I thought we could do a little craft video where we just sit and talk. If you guys have seen on TikTok, I've seen a few different videos of them, of what people are calling these Zen tangles. Basically, they're just little doodles that you do to kind of clear your mind. Hold on. Let's see, I've actually done a few already. They're just fun to do when you just want an excuse to turn off your brain, or in this case, you want to talk to your audience but don't just want to sit down, you want to be doing something. So I thought we could do that together. Because I have some things I want to update you guys on, but I don't know, it's just kind of hard to add it into a vlog because there've just been little things over the last few weeks. So yeah, let's do it. Can you hear me? We're gonna try this video with the mic on a random object, because in my other videos where I have it like clipped to me, it's still very quiet when I talk because it's so far away. I can't find a way to get it close to me and it not sound like I'm 100 miles away from the microphone. So we're gonna see how this goes. So I have decided that I'm gonna do a heart pattern. So I'm just gonna start with drawing a bunch of hearts on the paper. Varying sizes and directions. I'm just realizing now you can't really see it because it's the color of pink, but I'll add a picture in the end of what it ends up looking like. One thing I can update on is I got my first e-reader. This is the Books Go 6, I think. Yeah. So it's very small. It's just like the tablet one. I'm very excited to start using it because I've been, you guys know, reading has been one of my new little hobbies that I've gotten over the last year and a half. And I do definitely love reading physical books, but they just hurt my hands, so I can't really sit and read for a long period of time. If you guys watched, bring it closer. If you guys watched my Vlogmas attempting a 24-hour readathon video, you would know that it was very much an attempt and not successful, unfortunately, because my hands just hurt so much. And I also had a lot of other factors, like I had 2 reactions in a row, and I got sick, and my period started. So it was just like a tale of unfortunate events, unfortunately. So for me, it ended up being easier to just... But one of the things in that video was that my wrist really hurt from having to hold the heavy books for so long. So one thing I was really interested after I filmed that video was an e-reader, because it's thin. You can see it's thin. So hopefully I can get a little bit more reading done easier with this. And because it's so small, it's literally like the size of my hand, I can take it with me more places. So that will also be exciting. Back to the drawing, I am now going inside the hearts and drawing shapes inside of it. I don't want to say smaller hearts because not all of them look like hearts. But just going until I can't really make any more shapes into the center of these hearts. Another thing, let's talk about my EEG. So obviously you guys watched last week's vlog. If not, I had an EEG done for 24 hours. Now that was a very much a whirlwind of an experience, and I never really got to sit and talk about it, but going into a little bit more of a deep dive here, when I got my new, God, I always forget this word, my general doctor, the doctor I see like once a year. Is it just, I, I always want to say pediatrician, but that's a general doctor for children. That is not who I see. I see an adult one. But yeah, when I started seeing her, um, it's been a very positive experience, first of all. But we've been talking a lot about my symptoms and finally starting to get to see multiple specialists at once, not just one at a time. And she kind of pointed out that when I would describe my fainting spells, they actually sounded a lot more like seizures, which is very scary because I did not put that together myself, that that's what was happening. She kind of made the decision after talking a little bit and seeing her a few times. I was seeing her like once a month at one point, just because we had so much going on and she just wanted to make sure that she was being thorough and was making sure she was taking care of me, which I appreciate very, very much. But after all of that, she realized that we kind of had two paths that we could go down. We could go down just the cardio POTS path of the fainting spells, or we could go to the neurologist and look into if these were seizures. And I ended up having a pretty big, scary episode, scary for me, on my trip to Rhode Island last year. And it was kind of the tipping point for us that we need to do both, because I was having cardio symptoms. She could see that on her end. But if this was seizures and they were just both happening at the same time, we needed to know. So we've decided that we were going to do both a Holter monitor and an EEG. Just want to catch up on this heart. Hold on. Well, I guess I never really got to talk too much about the Holter monitor because that happened in between my break of Vlogmas and the start of this year. But yes, I had a Holter monitor put on for, is it 4 or 5 days? 4 or 5 days, something like that. And it was actually a very similar situation to this, where I walked in thinking that I was only gonna be, that I was gonna have this like big bulky thing on for like a day and that was it. Or yeah, it was just gonna be a day and I would have to drive back like I did with the EEG. But when I got there, the lady was like, nope, you're having it on for 5 days, and this company will actually just let you send it in the mail so you don't even have to come back. I was like, great, awesome, because I don't live in the same town that this hospital is, so it was nice to be able, especially in winter, that I could just mail it and not worry about it. Yeah, the Holter monitor, although it was just like a small little sticker on over my heart, so that wasn't too bad. It definitely got very itchy at one point, but me and adhesive never got along. So anytime I have any sort of glue or adhesive, everything always just freaking itches. So not much I can do about that. But you know, what can you do? And I did get those results back, and they did say that although there was no significant cardiac activity, they did see signs of tachycardia, which is good because that is a big thing for POTS, like I thought, which was very positive. It looks like we have a good direction to go towards for that. So then I just had the EEG done, and I thought that this was going to be like an hour appointment. Like I was going to go, I was going to get it done, and then I was going to go home and just await my results. No. um, this, I get there and I sign in and everything, fairly normal. And then the tech comes out to usher me back, and she asks, like, oh, who is this with you? Pointing at my mom. I was like, oh, this is my mom. Thinking, like, you know, there's a potential seizure risk here. So yeah, wanting to know who I came with is important. But she's like, oh, you can come back. And me and my mom are just like, really? Because it has been a very long time. I am now 22, 23 in May. It's been a while since my mom got to come back and have this appointment with me, which, was definitely the first clue of this was not what I was going to be expecting. Um, at first, I thought, okay, maybe there's like another waiting room my mom could wait in that's a little bit closer because this is a bit of a more severe thing. But I didn't really know what was going on. We get back there and she starts talking, and she very quickly makes sure that I know that this is going to be 24 hours and that I have to come back at 10:30 in the morning the next day to have this, to give back the little computer that I was holding. So she gets all the probes on. We're just, chit-chatting away about life. And she does these strobe lights once everything's on and I'm all wrapped up and stuff as like a baseline test. And if you are getting an EEG, fair warning, these things hurt. I had a headache for like 2 hours after this because they were not fun. No, I'm kicking you, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had a headache afterward for the 2 hours, and it was not enjoyable. So just a heads up, you do have to go through the flashing lights. It's not fun, but it really, my mom said that it only lasted a few minutes. My time with these things is not good. So it's only a few minutes, so it's not crazy bad. And yeah, I had it on for 24 hours. The doctor just said, you can do pretty much all normal things, no excess sweating, no showering, because it can obviously take the tape off and stuff, and you wouldn't get results. Let me move this because it keeps almost falling. I'm sorry if I stressed anybody out having that like on the corner. I basically just chilled in my bed. Finn was happy because he got to cuddle with me all day. That's his favorite part. He was upset though because anytime I got up, because basically anytime I stand, he wants me to hold him. He wants his uppies, as I say. He was not allowed to have uppies because we just didn't want him messing with the computer or pulling at any of the cords and hurting me on accident. So we just decided no uppies for 24 hours, and he acted like it was the end of the world because it's him. So, yeah, that's Finn for ya. But yeah, we quickly realized though that with the 24 hours, it was going to be pretty early. And the next day, on the Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah, the Thursday that we had to hand it back, there was a snowstorm coming, and we did not want to be out in the snow, even though it wasn't crazy bad. It was only a couple of inches for us, which isn't too bad up here in Maine. So the snowstorm itself wasn't bad, but you don't want to be driving in the freaking snow. We're not that crazy. So me and my mom were trying to figure out the best way to do it, to get there and back so that the monitor was on long enough and that we wouldn't be caught in the snow. And that's when my mom came up with the plan that I was just going to get up really early and we were going to drive down and we were going to cut the cords ourselves, which was what the tech said to do. And I was just going to take all of the probe stuff off in the car as long as it didn't hurt, and it didn't really. You can actually, I don't know if you can see on camera, there's still like a red mark on my forehead from one of the probes and a little on my chest because I had two heart monitor ones. So there was that. So yeah, I cut it in the car. My mom actually went in to hand it off so that I could start taking everything off in the car. And then we just drove home, and we did get home before the snow, which was good. So we got to just have a snow day. I got to take a shower because it was lots of goop and crust. The goop was goopy, but then some of it that had gotten like dried was very crunchy. So definitely make sure you have time for a nice long shower after you get an EEG because it is crusty. It took like 2 or 3 shampoos just to get all of that out. I had to go in with like my hairbrush and everything, but I got all the crust out. So a good long shower afterward is definitely necessary. And yeah, I don't have the results for those, but I will share them as soon as I do. I'm thinking sometime this week because the text said the results on Friday, but I can't remember. Well, obviously it wasn't last Friday because it is Tuesday when I'm filming this, but maybe this Friday. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that is my update on that. So back to the drawing. So I've filled in all of the hearts. I'm now going with this big one I have in the center. And I'm just going to be following the outside of the heart and just basically making bigger and bigger hearts. With these little tangle things, I'm not worried about it being perfect if the lines accidentally touch or anything. I'm just trying to fill the page. That's really my only goal. And when I get to a heart, like one of the other hearts touch, then I basically just swallow it. Like, that is a heart above this big one. So now I'm just going to add it into this little section, and now they are just together. And I'm just going to go until I reach the edges of the page. And I'm just going to keep going until there's nothing else to do. One thing I did want to talk about was, or is, my recent... You okay? Finn just shook. He's okay. My recent discovery and love for strength training. I want to make a more dedicated video on it. So I'm not going to get into crazy detail, but essentially I learned a while ago at this point that one thing that can really help chronic pain... Excuse you? Who are you barking at? Quiet. Quiet. There is no need for barking. I wanted a cup of tea for this video. Oops. We'll get one afterward. Are you okay? Are we all good now? Oh. Are we okay? No. No barking. There's no need. No. Finn. Finn. That's enough. Thank you. So back to strength training. I learned a while ago that strength training is actually something that is very helpful when it comes to chronic pain. Because when you have muscle built up around your joints, it just helps you be able to tolerate pain more. So it's been something that's kind of been in the back of my mind to try. And I did end up trying it October last year. And I fell in freaking love because it's easily self-paced. First of all, there are plenty of videos online that are for beginners that you can start with, and it's completely customizable. But the biggest thing for me is I can actually adjust positions and things to better suit my needs and my pain. So, like hip thrusts, because I do focus a lot on hips and back because that's where a majority of my pain is. So trying to build those muscles out is kind of my goal right now anyway. For me, my foot's falling asleep. Hold on. I gotta adjust my position. Hip thrust is one of those things, but usually, you with me, you like lean back on a chair or something, and you do it up, and that was just really hard for me. It made me really dizzy. So I found that actually laying on the floor fully and doing it that way was a lot easier. Again, I want to do a more dedicated video for this. I think it's going to be my last video of this month, so subscribe if you're interested in this, kind of showing off what I do and everything, because this is a part of my life, and a goal for this year for me was to be more open about these parts of my life, because I've been so hyper focused on just the education and accessibility things that I kind of forget to post just my normal life, which is actually one of the reasons I've been trying to do more vertical videos this year as well, because those are just a lot easier to kind of show off my day-to-day life and show off myself more. Um, so yeah, that is something I want to do because it kind of falls into both categories. Because obviously there are some physical changes that would occur with this that I'm not opposed to. Um, but the ultimate goal is for pain relief. So even if there isn't any physical changes right away, I can actually honestly say, only doing this for a couple of months, that I have noticed a difference in myself and the way I can get through a day, which I'm very happy about. Just especially for doing it for such a short amount of time, already seeing a noticeable difference is makes me very happy. I think that's it for me on that specific topic. You know, one thing that has been very interesting is I've been paying attention more. Like I said, I've been trying to post more vertical videos and stuff, but things that have just been like little hobbies of mine, like baking, to see videos like that of me just existing and doing something I enjoy get so much engagement and reach a lot of people and get, you know, people excited to see me is really cool. Because, you know, I've been doing this for a couple years now, but I've only really seriously been doing it for like a year. This is really year 2 of like content creation here. So it's nice to know that being myself has been the thing that a lot of people have been connecting with, which is odd because when I was in school, whenever I would be myself, it got a lot of backlash. Um, not trying to get too, well, maybe I should. I'll get a little deep, I guess. But high school specifically, a lot of how I was treated was surrounding my illness, which is made sense, because I essentially looked like a walking corpse, basically. I really don't have any pictures of around that time because I looked the way that I did. I was severely overweight because of my celiac disease and everything, and just not taking care of myself. I looked terrible. Um, and by that, I don't mean that, like, oh, I think I looked ugly or something like that. I looked terrible, like, I looked sick. Terrible. Just so we're clear when I mean that. That's what I mean. So, because that's the way I looked day in and day out, I would be treated certain ways, and a lot of that was that I wasn't worthy of friendship or to be around or to just to be treated like a person. Honestly, the amount of times I would be treated like a child, honestly, was like I couldn't give you a number. I It was very often. You know, a lot of the students in my class would be shocked when I would understand reading material. Specifically, I remember my senior year when I have most of my memories because I don't remember this time super clearly anymore. And I maybe never will, I don't know. I remember we were reading Frankenstein and I made a comment about, I don't even remember which chapter it was, but it was about the themes so far in the book and what I thought of them. And I remember everybody looking at me and kind of whispering. And I remember hearing one person specifically say, I can't believe she picked up on that. And it very much had this tone, which is a tone I heard quite often of how can somebody who is like that, disabled, um, understand something better than I can. And I've always had that of people thinking that I'm dumber than I am. And I don't know. It just really affected my self confidence. So I really hid away for a lot of for a very long time. This is really the first time I've really felt like I could be myself because again, I like literature. I like reading and talking about stuff like that and being open about it. And I never really got to do that. Sharing things that I like, even with the people I thought were friends who ended up being very mean to me and very much using me to their advantage of being friends with the sick girl, is what I like to say, because it made them look good. I never really got to be myself around them. I was forced into this box, and I had to play the role. I had to be in that, despite the fact that it was so far from who I actually was, because that was it. Like, I love musical theater, but I never really got to talk about it or find people that liked it, because whenever I would talk about it, it was pushed to the side of, oh, that's not something you should enjoy. All that to say, seeing just being myself have that impact on people has been confidence building. It has been very nice for me to see that, these people were wrong, that I am enough just on my own. I don't need to cover up parts of myself. I can just be, and that's enough. And I really hope that this year I will find people that I can find people that I can talk to and be friends with that think that as well. But one step at a time. But yes, so I'm not fully done. I will put a picture up right now of what this looks like when I'm fully done. But my throat is starting to hurt, so I think I should end this video here on that somber-ish note. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little yap section. I enjoyed it with you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. On screen now are my social media handles if you'd like to see more day-to-day things that I get up to. And with that, I will see you next week for a brand new video. Bye.